It's already preview.
No, it's good. I'm not gonna go there. And we're too big to face.
We're live.
We're live? Okay. We'll go ahead and get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks, everyone. First thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda. There's a couple of amendments to the agenda that I'd like to propose, actually additions. One addition is the amendment to the bridge inspection contract under Steve Howe. And the other one is the claim allowance documents for payroll benefits, which is something we're having to do in addition to our payroll per the State Board of Accounts. So, you want to make?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to move the agenda.
Okay, and I'd second it. So agenda's approved with the two additions.
Yeah.
So first thing on the agenda is Pam Goffman.
Okay, the first is payroll that was distributed on December the 6th for $145,480.45 for regular payroll. Holiday to the sheriff's office was $20,349.52, and then we paid out comp time on December 6th for $4,081.18.
On the Sheriff's Department?
No, comp time was for the health department.
Health Department. All right, any other questions?
No, I'll make that motion approved.
And I'll second it, so motion made and second.
Okay, the next is the claim and allowance dockets for all the payroll benefits. This is all the insurance checks that we have to send out plus the taxes. And with everything, it totaled $253,290.65.
Yes. Any question?
No, I'll make the motion approved.
All right, I'll second it. And that is just an additional step we have to go through per.
After every payroll. Yep, we'll have this every payroll.
Okay.
Next is the holiday schedule. We have kind of come up with the holiday schedule. I know there is one thing that you all will need to be thinking about. There is a new holiday, a federal holiday that is coming to light. It's called Juneteenth. That would take effect on June 19th. It has not been added on here. That is a decision that the commissioners will have to make because it will have to be put into the personnel policy also. This year's New Year's Day will be honored on Monday, January the 3rd, to put it in for 2022. So,
Okay.
and I
so-
sent that all out to you to review.
Yeah, the 2022, without the addition of.
Without the addition at this point, yes.
Okay. Do you have any issues with the holiday schedule?
No, I think most companies are doing that and everybody else
So,
on the Juneteenth.
Right, but we haven't added, we'll have to add that to our personnel policy
Okay.
when we do that, but.
Okay.
are you wanting to talk about, are you wanting to do that today, or do you want to wait and do that with some other personnel issues possibly on the 29th?
You want Greg to be here for that?
Yeah. If we're gonna open it up anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that'd be good.
okay. They're going to wait on the June 19th on the December 29th. Okay, so you guys are okay with the holiday schedule the way it is? then?
Yes.
Without the other one at this point?
At this point, yeah, we can always add that later.
Okay. Next is we have some 4D consulting contracts. We're here at the end of, well, we're not. We had just signed a contract last year we did with Maximus. You all had, we just signed a new 3-year contract with them. Things have changed with Maximus, and the circuit court and the clerk's office, which are here with us today too in the meeting. We've had a meeting, and with things changing, we have not been pleased with the way Maximus has been doing some things and the way they've been doing as far as trying to get our information and stuff that they need. And especially even going over my, what's that big report I have to have done besides the monthly, the indirect cost?
Oh, yeah.
And how they went over that this year. So we three met, and we have been talking with Dossett Consulting that we would like to do a switch of our contract with to change to Dossett Consulting. Jeff Kemper is here, that he'd give you a brief explanation. And they have agreed also to keep the pricing the same as what we were with Maximus. So, Jeff?
Sure, thanks, Pam. Good morning.
Probably should have passed these out. Oh, that's fine.
Yep. I'll be brief. I want to say thanks to Pam, and thanks to all of you for hearing us. Jeff Dossett is our company president, and as Pam said, met with Pam and the two other department heads here a few weeks ago. We had reached out here before. We're one of 3 companies in the state that does all the work for child support, reimbursement for child support 4D expenses. And happy to report that currently we're in 47 counties. This is an old map. Believe it or not, I'm using it for some Christmas delivery type things for our counties, so it's a mess. But Jeff Dossett started the company about 12 years ago. I've been working with him in a sales capacity for about 4 years. So our work is primarily with auditors, with clerks, with prosecutors, and 4D courts. Pam's responsible to submit a cost allocation plan once a year to the state for any indirect cost related to child support. That could be anything from heat, equipment, computers, even personnel. The other departments have a responsibility every month to submit cost, direct claiming cost related to child support. And it's an old law that the child support issue got so out of control years ago with people not paying back child support that one of the previous administrations said any of the counties across the land that would actively go after the, I hate to say, the deadbeats that weren't paying the child support, they could be reimbursed for expenses. And it amounts to a significant amount of money. I was on the council for several terms up in Tippecanoe County, and I remember asking our auditor one time, I said, what's this $10,000 amount we're paying out to Maximus? Tippecanoe County is a little larger than yours. And he said, slide over to the revenue side, and for the $10,000 we were paying out, we were getting back from the state and the federal reimbursement program about $150,000. Well, and that's increased. Obviously, Perry County is not as large, but there's a significant amount of money that will come back to your county. Jeff Dossett specializes in a hands-on approach. We have a number of what I call number crunchers, the people that do the data analysis, and we'll be working with the clerk, the prosecutor, if he or she decides to sign up.
No, we just do strictly the clerk.
Through the court. Okay. Some counties have the prosecutor do it, some have a court that does it. That's a monthly communication back and forth between Jeff Dossett and our other folks. They keep me out of that stuff. I know the overview, but we're here to say we look forward to working with Perry County, and I have a copy of the contract, but it's a very detailed item. There's actually 3 contracts in one for the auditor, one for the clerk, and one for the court. I'm here to mostly support Pam's requests and see if you have any questions. Jeff Dossett would have liked to have been here. He trusted me to come down and at least try to answer questions. Jeff's much better with the nuts and bolts of what goes on than I am, but I think as I know he told Pam and the others, we've been very successful in, not to pick on the other companies, but we've had good success with taking on counties because they haven't been satisfied with either of the other 2 companies. So we're excited to work with Perry County, and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them for you.
Well, myself, I mean, I trust the you know, the recommendations of the people that work with us every day, but since this was just brought to us, I personally would like to table it and have our attorney
Sure.
look at the contract and, I mean, not saying that I'm not supporting it, I just would rather have time to read the contract.
Sure,
and have
understand.
Have our county attorney. How about you, Andy?
I agree with that, especially on the county attorney side. Is there a timeline on this, Pam, that needs to be done by
If
the
we
end
could
of
do
the
it
year?
at the 29th meeting, make the approval?
Okay, if you could send this out to
Yes,
all
I
three.
thought I had, but I guess I didn't.
Okay, and that's fine. I mean, but without Chris here, our Goffman, our attorney, you know, and getting an official, or recommendation from him or a blessing on the contract, I just.
And that's
and it all
understandable.
sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, and most counties would like to have their attorney look at it. Our contract, I think your attorney will find, is very standard, and as far as the hold harmless and the liability, but certainly makes sense, and I would do the same thing if I were in your shoes, so.
And I'm also, I don't have a problem with it because I take Pam and Rachel's recommendations.
Sure.
But I just think we need to have the attorney to
Sure.
glance over it and then move on.
Yeah, and we are happy to start it at whatever time that will coincide with the termination of the other contract. And I'm sure Jeff Dossett probably made that clear to you, so.
When
and-
does the other contract
At the end of the,
expire?
at the end of the year, because it was a 3-year contract, and they've
Okay.
agreed to do a new 3-year contract where it's the same prices, $4,500 for each of the offices, and then $3,000 to do our indirect cost, which is the exact same price that we were paying,
Okay,
so.
okay. So the 29th would be soon enough.
Sure.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
one of us could be back down here, but that's probably not necessary either, and, yeah,
I don't
okay,
think so.
great.
I
You-
don't think so, no.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, we look forward to working with you.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. I want to leave something in your office when I leave, so,
Oh, okay.
okay, yeah, Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
You also.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I have.
okay. Next thing on the agenda is Aaron Emerson with Berrycan Development Corporation.
Good morning. I believe that you guys have received a copy of the 2022 contract to renew services. It's set at a not to exceed $228,494, which is 20% of edit. It includes assisting the county in economic development activities, including attraction, retention, expansion, infrastructure development, community and workforce development. Lots and lots of areas, and we work with you guys on a lot of those, so I know you're familiar with them, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, it is a build, it's not an automatic, just so the
Correct.
people understand.
Yes.
It's not a,
Right, billed monthly
It's a
by the
not to
hours
ex-
worked, not to exceed,
not to
correct.
exceed, and monthly billed services.
Correct.
And this contract hasn't changed in the last few years, except for the amount not to exceed.
Correct. No changes in the contract.
Mhm.
And that runs off our economic. From the state, from the.
Correct, the 20% of edit.
20% of the edit money,
Yeah.
which has been the edit plan since the beginning of the edit tax. Mhm. Any discussion?
No, I'll make a motion and keep up the good work.
Mhm.
Thank
Approve
you.
it.
And I'll second it. So a motion been made and second, carried 2-0. All right,
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Just one signature.
I think that's all that one has.
Mhm. All right, next on the agenda is Alvin Evans with the Development Corporation for an affidavit and a rating update.
This is affidavit for you for the TIF District Number 3, 2021 bond, which is the amount is $4,800, which is for the annual mitigation review inspection for the Riverview Industrial Park. That's the stream mitigation down at the Troy site. So this will continue on for a period of at least 5 years, and then that's what's in it, and that's funded by the 2021 bond. It could possibly go up to 10 years, depending upon IDEM's decision, IDEM and DNR's decision on whether to accept it as final or not. So,
And we have no choice here.
we have no choice here, no.
So I'll make a motion on the affidavit.
All right, I'll second that. Motion made and second, carried 2-0 to approve the affidavit.
And the other item was just a quick update on Ready. Ready application was submitted. It's been approved. The announcement last Tuesday that there were 17 regions in the state that submitted application programs, and all 17 of them received funding. Indiana first, which is the region that Perry County, Spencer County, Fayette County, Knox County and Harrison County, that makes up the region, and that's received $15 million for the reimbursement, which is a 20% match to local funds. So, but that's in the process. There's going to be probably 6 months or so before all the details are worked out on exactly what the projects. A plan was submitted to them with the numerous projects, and the AEDC, Indiana Economic Development Corporation, will be working to come up with the final plan for the region and what the final projects will be then. So, about the next 6 months or so.
Now, Perry County was only part of one regional?
We were part of Indiana first, yes. Yeah, just one each.
And the counties are, what counties are in that?
Perry, Spencer, Pike, Knox, and Harrison.
Just 5?
Just 5, yes.
I didn't know if I caught them all either, so thank you, because I was going to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, so.
Yeah, and it's good news. I mean, and I'm glad that all of them got funding, all of the applications. You say it's statewide, all of them?
Statewide, all of them got funds, got some very, very varying amounts between 50 million, that was the max. I think only 2 of them got the full amount, but, so.
I know it's been a lot of work, because this is one program that had a lot of involved paperwork and red tape.
Yes, it
To say the
was,
least.
it essentially took 5 months of Aaron's my life out working on this to get this done. Plus we had a lot of good help to accomplish it, so. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I would say
but-
this is one of the things that Perry County Development Corporation does. If we didn't have that resource, I'm not sure what we would have done, I mean, with the application, so.
Well, actually, our application went through Southwest Indiana Development Council because it was a 501c3, which Perry County was a founder of and been a member of since it was originally formed in the 90s. And so, and that is who actually submitted the application under the name Indiana First, because they wanted regional names in. But that will be the finance. The funds will flow through it, then to the counties,
So-
projects, and then back in.
But working
But,
for Perry County Development Corporation is what?
yeah, and that is a membership that Southwest Indiana Development Council is a member of Economic Development Corporations. That's who makes up that membership then.
A lot of layers.
A lot of layers, and yes, all of it is true of anything we do.
Hopefully we'll get our equal share of that. I mean, 5 counties, 15 million. Theoretically, we should get 3. I mean, but
Yeah,
the devil's in the detail.
yeah,
sure.
that's right. Yeah, so, all right.
Any way you look at it, it's good news, so,
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Next on the agenda was Alan Malone with the water softener, but he's asked, since that issue is taken care of, to be taken off the agenda. I forgot to make that change at the beginning. So the next thing on the agenda is Steve Howe with the Highway Department. Which one you want to do first, amendment or the? Whatever you want.
Well, I'm asking for a letter of approval for the community crossings again for next year. We're getting ready to apply for that in January. I just need a letter of approval from you guys on that.
Do we have it? Oh, here it is. We'll read it. Please let this letter confirm that Perry County will be matching funds available for the community crossing matching grant projects that Perry County will apply for in January of 2022. Perry County commits its local match funds equal to not less than 25% of the estimated project costs. Basically, we've committed our edit plan that to fund this 50%. The edit money is the road projects, which goes to this. Plus, you've got some other funding that you, if the edit money is not enough for the match. But if we pay 25% and of the project, that's money well spent.
Yeah, yes it is.
Mhm.
I think we've got about 130,000 left in from last year. We'll have left in the community crossing budget.
So basically 300,000 turned into 1,300,000.
Yes,
Round figures.
yeah.
Mhm. Do you care to go over the projects that you have? in
Okay,
mind?
what I'm getting estimates on now, this may change depending on the pricing, but I've got Troy Ridge number 72 from the Troy city limits to Brushy Fork Road. And I've got 101 Athens Road from Sulphur Valley to State Road 145 near Bristow. We did the Sulphur Valley a couple years ago with community crossings. Then 147A South Oak Ridge Road, that's 1.78 miles from Bristow, St. Meinrad to Huffman. There was a lot of logging on it last winter and it's pretty bad shape. We need to get it fixed back up. Then I've got 182 Oneida. That's from State Road 66 to the Crawford County line up by Buzzard Roost. There was a lot of logging came out of Crawford County and that was the only way they had to get out of there, so it's needing some repairs done to it. Then number 16 Aspen Road from Abbott Road to Locust Road, which Abbott and Locust have both been done with community crossings, and that one's getting kind of bad shape, so that would get those roads in that area in pretty good shape. St. Joe Cemetery 122 from State Road 145 to Liberty Road. That's it was chipped and sealed several years ago. It's really rough and it's, it needs to be smoothed out. Then I got Leopold Road number 34 from Old State Road 37 to the South Leopold Road. That section of the road there is not under the federal system. The rest of that road they had to Mount Pleasant is under the federal system. So we'll probably one of these days apply for that money through the distress road loan to do that, redo that road, but we won't be able to do from 037 to Leopold with that money. So I'd like to get, and it's needing to be repaired, so I'd like to get it up in good shape before it comes time to apply for the distress road loan.
It's that short section.
Yes, just from 037 to Leopold. Then the federal road takes over from South Leopold Circle all the way to 66 at Mount Pleasant then, is under the federal system, but they didn't have enough right-of-way on this section to qualify for the distress road loan.
All right, well, thanks for that update. Hopefully we get awarded these again. We've been having very good luck. I really commend the state for the community crossings matching grant program.
Yes.
I think it's very fair, and it's a way of having smaller communities like ours able to fund large.
Yeah, it's really helped Perry County out. If it wasn't for it, we wouldn't have the roads as good as they are. They're not perfect yet, but they're getting better.
They're really good, Steve. I mean, just drive around Perry County, we've got some really good roads.
Oh, thank you.
And a lot of help is from community crossings.
Yes.
And your hard work too. Unlimited money you got, so.
I appreciate that.
But I make a motion to approve the support letter.
And I'll second it. Motion made and second. We will sign whatever we need to sign to
You
the.
both just need to sign them.
Just sign this one? Okay, in the same place?
Just underneath.
Next thing I have is amendment to our contract for bridge inspections. I just found out Thursday that it was going to have to be amended. I got the contract yesterday. Federal Highway System didn't agree with the formula used to load rate some of the bridges that NDOT was using, so NDOT is having to do this amendment to suit, according to the Federal Highway System. We've got 9 bridges that it affects. It'd be $2,700, which we'll get 80% of that back after we pay for it. They'll send us 80% of that back. And I'm just asking for you guys' approval on this.
I mean, this is pretty standard stuff. The LPA and
Yeah.
NDOT didn't agree, so we got caught. But they're still paying 80% of the
Yeah.
bridge inspections, so.
Yeah, they said the Federal Highway System didn't agree with the formula they used to load rate some of the bridges. It just affected 9 of them, of ours is all it affects.
This was sent to the county attorney as well. He was fine.
Yes, and he was fine, yeah.
Okay. That was on the next one. So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
no, I'll second that. Motion made and second, carried 2-0.
That's all I had. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Road projects that you're proposing.
All right. Next on the agenda, Jim Carter.
I'm with you.
First thing I want to talk about is actually, I want to thank Herbie and Debbie for probably the hell they went through. I'm sure that you all are aware of that, but we had obviously another cap problem in Perry County, and thanks to the Harrison County and Herbie and Debbie, she go ahead there too, and Vanderbilt County, the situation was resolved. But I want to let you know that there's many more cases like that out in the county. And I tracked that case while I was president of the Humane Society, and I dropped off of that after I retired. So I know the individual for a long time. But anyway, Vanderbilt County reached out when they took these cats, and I think the overall cost, they say that to take care of these cats is going to be around $17,000. Is that?
Estimated $17,900, but it'll exceed $20,000. I still have 5 cats in my residence right now feeding them.
I hear this.
So,
hear him.
anyway, again, I want to thank you for what you did. But when the Humane Society found out about this situation, they immediately, in Vandenberg County, reached out to ask for donations. The director actually approved a $2,000 check to be sent, and that's being sent today, actually handwritten and hand-delivered to Vandenberg County Humane Society. But believe it or not, I mean, obviously we know this was originally our problem, and I'm asking here also to ask if it's possible. We have that non-reverting fund that can be used for shelters. I tried to get a hold of Chris yesterday afternoon late, and it's my fault. I should have got home early to legally to make sure that 1180 fund from, it's, what is it, 59,000 and the Pam? 51,000, okay. $51,000 in that can be used if I read it right, but I need, like I said, we need Chris to look at it. I'd like to see that the Perry County match that $2,000 from the Humane Society to send to Vanderbilt County to help with taking care of these cats. Now, that's a preliminary estimate, and obviously some of these cats are not going to survive. We don't know yet how many, but so it'll probably be a little bit less than $17,000. But anyway, our 2,000 and 2,000 another from, if you could appropriate $2,000 from that 1180 fund, which is the non-reverting, I think it'd be most appreciated. So that is the first thing. And so second thing, Is the meeting still on tonight? Okay.
Now, before any proposals, I would rather see you go through the Animal Control Board for any proposals.
I am, that's exactly what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going,
Okay.
I'm giving you a flow chart. I'm giving you a flow chart right now that's part of the proposal tonight, but the reason why I'm giving the flow chart is so that you understand at the beginning of what I've got, because this this proposal that I'm asking for has been modified because we now have a temporary program, and it's modified to fit into that. But I definitely,
We as in, what organization are you representing?
I'm representing myself.
Okay.
I'm not the Humane Society, okay? I always come, I think I made that clear before, but.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's a flow chart. Two flow charts in one, actually.
Okay.
Since I'm here and Gray's not here, I'll get a copy of the page. The first flow chart, basically, when I was going through the proposed program, I realized, and you also realized this in more than one meeting, that one of our major problems was getting when an officer gets to a location, there's a problem. Now there's an animal there, and there's no actual police protocol set up to get that animal, and it's been a problem, as you know. It's been a problem once they get to the residence. Now who's going to take it, where's going to take it, and all of that. Now with the temporary, did I give you one?
No.
With the temporary situation the way it is, police don't have a proper protocol. Herbie may get a call, he may not get a call. I may get a call, or did when I was Humane Society answering the phone. And this proposal tonight, I just want to show you the flow chart. If you see the first flow chart, you'll see the green arrows, and then you see the red arrow. And that's where the efficiency of being able to handle the animals, that's where the problem is in the red. So in this proposal tonight, I'm hoping to show the Animal Control Board how we can correct that. And obviously I'm open to any suggestions, and I'm actually also inviting the public, because the second half of the meeting tonight would be open to the public. Anybody in the public to come and listen to the proposal. Now the proposal is abridged, so because I only had so much time and people before they go to sleep, but I'm going to give it to the Animal Control Board so they have a whole month until next month into 2022 to look at that whole proposal, come up with concepts, ideas, changes, anything they want, so that can be brought to you as a proposal, as suggestions. And I also would like to have the commissioners to come inside, the law enforcement, to get involved with this, because it's time. It's time we did something. It's time we got that shelter open. It's time we can very, very much consider the animal control officer. And it's also time that we also consider starting to understand how to take care of these feral cats. Now, in the proposal, at the end of this proposal, at the very back of that, is a subportion of how to control the cats. Now, this is my 19th year. I just now thought about it when I was just telling Betty, I didn't realize it, but this is my 19th year of working with animals. So I feel the experience to do it. I just need the cooperation, but I'd like to retire again, but things happen. So what I want to do is make this proposal, have the Animal Control Board look over it, make suggestions, get back with the commissioners. Obviously, I assume on January 1st that I'm going to be on the board, so I'll be involved with it. But, my energy's running out, and I realize that So I put this together over a period of time. So I will propose that tonight. I'll give them information and give them flow charts. And then in January, I'll answer every question that I can, that what I've researched, but I'm sure that the Animal Control Board, with their input, can come up with some kind of solution for the county. So that's about it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you, Jim.
But think about that $2,000, because they really need that, so.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is the opening of bids for gas and highway supplies.
Where's your bid?
Yes. All right. This is from Sin Energy. Do I need to announce what they were for?
You can.
The item 1 is for premium diesel fuel on-road, 25,000 gallon, more or less, as needed. Premium diesel off-road, 15,000 gallon, more or less, as needed, just for the highway department. Item 2 is crushed stone, number 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 23, 53, 73s, 92s, sand and riprap, 18,000 ton, more or less as needed. Culvert supplies as needed. Bituminous, 12,000 gallons, more or less, of heated AE 90 seal coat to meet NDOT specifications. And number 5 is unleaded gasoline, 30,000 gallon, more or less as needed, furnished daily at retail stations for the use of the county police vehicles. Unleaded gasoline, 15,000 gallon, more or less, furnished daily at retail stations for use of county-owned vehicles. The specifications were sent out. Do I need to read all the specifications on the?
No.
I don't remember, Chris usually did that. So the first bid is from Sin Energy. I think they're based in Huntingburg, so Mount Vernon, Emerson. This bid is for the fuel bid. Premium diesel on-road, $2.68.9 firm, or flex at $2.61 and 0.54 for the flex. Premium diesel off-road is $269.4 firm and $261.84 on the flex. Firm prices will be locked in at the time of acceptance and is subject to market price at that time. Add 0.02 for winter formula. Alright. That's Sin Energy's bid for the diesel fuel, and all the bid documents to be reviewed. I'll do my paper clip. So you got one. We keep it separate. Here we go. All right, the next bid is from CNS Incorporated. Like I said, these are all sealed bids. This is for gasoline. This bid is for item number 5. And they list 4 locations where the where they can use for fuel. for the price. Every bid is made differently. The bid on this is, the bid price is for 5 cents per gallon, discount off of the posted pump price of retail outlet at the time of purchase. And the 4 Circle S locations are Main and Payne in Tell City, Highway 66 and William Tell in Tell City, 12th and Tell in Tell City, and Highway 37 Apollonia Road at St. Croix. This is for county police vehicles, 5 cents off the pump. The second bid is for 15,000 gallon, more or less, furnished at the same retail locations for county-owned vehicles. And it is also for 5 cents per gallon, discount off posted pump price at the retail at the time of purchase. That. We'll look through and see if we got any others that looks like any fuel, and we'll kind of keep them together. These all of them. Okay. Well, I know we got culvert. So that's all of the fuel and gasoline bids. I will say this, that the CNS in the past has always extended the same discount to the ambulance service, although it's not on the bids. They have done that. Okay, this is from Mulder Crushed Stone, from the for the 18,000 ton more or less. Size 53s and 73s, tower 49. This is all per ton, $9.40 per ton. Tell City Yard, $17.65 per ton. Size numbers 2, 5, and 7. Tower Quarry, $10.70 a ton. Tell City Yard, $19.65. Size 9, Tower Quarry, $12.15. Tell City Yard, $20.85. Size 11s, Tower Quarry, $12.45. Tell City Yard, $21.85. Size 11, CAPP, Tower Quarry, $13.25. Tell City Yard, $22.95. Size 12s, Tower Quarry, $13 per ton. Tell City Yard, no bid. Riprap, Tower Quarry, $11.40. Tell City Yard, $22. Washed pea gravel, Tell City Yard, $22.05 a ton. Regular pea gravel is $18.90. Size 53s and 73s, this is stone, stockpiled or spread in the following townships. 53s and 73s, Anderson Township, $16.25 a ton. Clark Township, $15.25 a ton. Leopold, $15 a ton. Oil Township, $14.45 a ton. Tobin, $23.25 a ton. Troy, $18.70 a ton. And Union, $15.05 a ton. Size number 2s and 5s and 7s, Anderson Township, $17.55. Clark, $16.55. Leopold, $16.30. Oil, $15.75. Tobin, $24.55. Troy, $20 even. Union Township, $16.35. Size number 9, Anderson Township, $19, Clark $18, Leopold $17.75, Oil $17.20, Tobin $26, Troy $21.45, Union $17.80. Size 11s, Anderson $19.30, Clark $18.30, Leopold $18.05, Oil $17.50, Tobin $26.30, Troy $21.75, and Union $18.10. Size number 11, CAPP, Anderson $20.10, Clark $19.10, Leopold $18.85, Oil is $18.30, Tobin is $27.10, Troy is $22.55, and Union is $18.90. Number 12, Anderson Township $19.85, Clark $18.85, Leopold $18.60, Oil $18.05, Tobin $26.85, Troy $22.30, Union $18.65. Riprap, Anderson is $19.25, Clark is $18.25, Leopold $19.10, Oil $17.45, Tobin $26.25, Troy $21.70, Union is $18.05.
Tom, is the difference because of the distance from the towers?
I would suspect they didn't specify, but I would say it all has to do with logistics. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything there. Just bidding on the crushed stone. This is from 37 Pipe and Supply in Bedford. Yeah, rock is more about logistics than it is the stone itself. This is Pipe Supply. They have a catalog, and I will not be reading everything in their catalog. They have everything from 4 to 60-inch pipe and various bids, which if anyone's interested is public record. Did you keep track of all that?
Trying.
Hmm?
I'm trying.
This is from Canaflex.
Mhm.
You probably want that. Canaflex is, their bid is for item number 3, high-density polyurethane culvert pipe. And there are several sizes in their bid. In the bid document with it, but will have to be reviewed. The next one is sealed bid E3 bridge. E3 bridge, they are bidding on culvert pipe, corrugated pipe for several different aluminum structured plate, round pipe, and for engineering for bridges. And there's 2 pages of specific sizes, no more than that. There's several pages on their price list. And then the bid documents need to be reviewed. The last one I have is with Civilcon. Is that how?
Silvercon.
I need a sharper letter opener.
I at least thought the green one.
You did. You got a real sharp one at home, didn't you? Yeah.
Probably hurt yourself, Tom.
Huh?
You probably hurt yourself.
I've actually got a safety one with the blades inside. Anyway, this is Civilcon, that's the way you pronounce it, is for, they are bidding on culvert pipes and liners and a large rate of culvert in precast bridges and precast and box culverts. So, and there are several pages of pricing on that, along with their bid documents. So traditionally in the past, we have tabled the acceptance of these upon review of the highway department and our county attorney to make sure all the bid documents are there and they meet the specs we needed. So,
Only
Randy?
thing different would be the fuel, and it would be a question for Steve. A lot of times with the fuel, especially from Sun Energy, that bid is today only, right?
That price that he gave you there was the day he wrote that out. The price today is cheaper than what that price there is. I called this morning. What I do, I'll have to call every day, or call, when you're gonna have a meeting, I get the price. Then when you accept it, I call him the next morning and may change a penny or two, but it's locked in. If we take the firm, it's locked in for the year then, or that price is the way we've been doing it.
We can do that on the 29th then?
Yeah, it came down some since about a dime a gallon since they've done that. But as long as we wait, maybe just keep it reviewed.
I know in the past, you pretty well had the price set for the year. You picked that option.
We had been doing that, and with the prices as high as they are now, I don't know that we wouldn't be better off to take the flex. I've heard some predictions that the fuel prices are going to be coming down. I don't know, anybody don't really know for sure, but.
Yeah, that's just a chance we take, so.
but historically, well, if you want to give it some thought, and then we, at our 29th meeting, once the bid documents have been reviewed by, to make sure that everything's there from Chris Doffman, you want to make a recommendation then, or you want to make a recommendation?
I'd rather wait till then. I'm probably gonna recommend the flex pricing, from what I've been told and what I've been hearing. I would probably recommend the flex right now, because I think it's gonna come down. We have been taking the firm the last several years, but I think this year we might be better off to do the flex.
Okay.
And I think in the years past on the culverts and the pipe and stuff, we've been accepting all bids. So you take a close look at that, because some of them cheaper than others. And when you do that, we get the best price all the way across the board. So,
If they're available.
yeah, if available. So
The problem lately has been availability of some of them.
Do you want to address the CNS?
Well, I mean,
That's for
to be involved fair, we need to make sure that
All the documents are.
all the documents are
Okay.
approved. I mean, we'd have no other bids for gasoline, but I think we ought to let Chris review, make sure everything's there. And it should be, I mean, but you want to make a motion to table it till the 29th?
Yes, I'll make a motion to table all bids, and with Chris reviews them, and we'll look at them on the 29th then.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is approval of the American Rescue Plan Act County Plan. We've been discussing this. I serve on that ARP committee, and we have not spent anything on, to be able to spend any of the money allocated to us, which we've received $1,861,677 in May, and our plan that has been approved by the ARP committee was a application process that we are paying, solicited the community foundation to manage that. But because we actually don't have the resources, everything has to fit in, there's restrictions on it, and the community foundation has those resources in place to make sure that all the applications are viable. So the proposed plan, and it can be amended, and it probably will be amended, because the amendment is to, once the applications are in, then we'll have to amend it to spend these funds. Category 1, to respond to the public health emergencies or its negative economic impact, including assistance to households, small businesses, and non-for-profits, or aid to impact industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality, in the amount of $1.2 million. Category 2 is to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency, to provide premium pay to eligible workers, no set amount. Category 3, for the provisions of government services to the extent of the reduction in the revenue due to the COVID-19 public health emergency related to revenues collected in most recent full fiscal year to the emergency. $355,000 towards that effort. And then the fourth category is to make necessary investment in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure, and none in that amount right now. This is our proposal, and then once this, if the commissioners approve this, then the next step is that it has to be appropriated through the council. Is there a total amount?
Well, the 6,000 is also on
Hmm?
there. Okay, so that's out of the one, but
Yes.
there's the 1.2, but then there was also the 6,000.
It's all part of it, right?
No, I don't know, because there's your 1.2 separate, and then here's the 6,000.
Oh, well, yeah, as part of category 1, there was $6,000 through the Perry County Community Foundation to provide the internet portal and other assistance in coordinating the grants to nonprofits as detailed above. And there's just a breakdown of the breakdown of category 3 was payroll financial suite was $124,000, and property tax software was $231,000. Then that adds up to the $355,000 previously mentioned. This is the first step in actually spending the money that's sitting in our bank account. And like I said, the next step will be the approval by the council. Any questions?
No, we had that discussion last meeting when Chris was here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
This is the actual plan that we have to put into place before we can start, so.
okay, I'm good with it, so I'll make a motion to approve the American Rescue Plan.
And I will second it, and the motion made, second, carried 2-0. And just FYI, Greg Jarbo on the, he is on the ARP committee, and he approved it as that committee, so indirectly we have his approval. Do we need to sign this?
I couldn't find a place on there.
Okay, well, if you do, we'll sign it
I
later.
couldn't find a place.
Mhm. We need to get moving forward on this. Next on the agenda is approval of appointment of positions. I'll take these separately. The county administrator, which is currently Teresa Cannonberg. Randy, any comments?
No, I'll make a motion to have her for another year.
And I will second that strongly. She has done a wonderful job, above and beyond. So the county is very fortunate to have her. So motion made, second, carried 2-0. County Highway Superintendent. What goes without saying, Steve has been doing a great job.
Yes, Steve.
Um,
And I'll make that motion to keep Steve on if he's willing to stay there, so.
I don't want to ask him what his.
Yeah, well, you don't have a choice.
I will second that. Motion made, second, carried 2-0. Veteran Service Officer. Kevin, would you care, you're here present, and I know we hear from, well, all the stuff that Teresa does, and we hear quite monthly about all of the good things going on with the highway department. And I know you sent me an email on what all you've accomplished in the year. Would you care to give us a quick rundown of what you've done? I know, maybe you're not prepared.
I'm not prepared, but I'll try.
Okay.
There's still a green light on that thing.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I started out with the, it was actually in 2020 when it first began, but getting the Perry County Hospital in the VA network. And that took about 4 or 5 months to complete. And what that opened up was for, instead of the veteran have to go to Orangeboro or Evansville or Louisville for doctor care, they can transfer their care to local doctors. And that opens up where they don't have to travel, and because most vets, I mean, you got an hour and a half drive to your appointment. That's a whole day of your time gone. So they transfer their care here. That way they can go to the doctor and they can take care of themselves better here local. And that opened up for different, you know, the eye doctors in town and different other places, chiropractors. I done 113 claims this year for veterans. And that's from claims for disability, for tax abatements, nursing home aid and attendance claims. Beginning of the year, I was, which courthouse was closed then until March, but I was more active out in the community, helping veterans. There was a few elder veterans during the pandemic that wasn't going to the doctor, and they were in pretty bad shape. We got them into Perry County Hospital, to wound care. I was taking them back and forth to their appointments. There's some other ones that had housing issues. Helped coordinate with different. There's a homeless, a veteran homeless vet in Evansville, Bill Lawrence. He has contacts for homeless veterans. We've had a few homeless veterans. We have one living in Tipsaw. We had another one just living local where he can stay. Send him to Bill Lawrence. Let's see what else. I started with the. I'm starting to put together I want to put together a PTSD group for veterans to go somewhere like the VFW or somewhere to meet and have somebody and just bring us together and talk and, have more awareness about it and let other veterans in the community know they're not alone, that there's other people that struggle with the same things. It's been a pretty good year. I have a few other things on my agenda I want to get accomplished, like we don't have any dental availability here in town for vets. I like to try to get a dentist office on board with the VA so we can have, go local for that as well. There's a veterans court. I sent Judge Lucy in the past about trying to get something with that together, and it's more of a deal. If you're a veteran, you go to court, and there's like maybe a year probation and something you can do and work off that time to maybe lessen that charge that once you complete that stint, a year or so.
Kevin, on the hospital care, so like they can go to doctor's appointments here, but if they have to be hospitalized, do they get hospitalized here or are they hospitalized wherever their original thing was?
Well, if they go to a local doctor and that doctor puts them in the hospital, then whatever that doctor here, how the VA looks at is, like say Dr. Anna at the clinic, that is a VA doctor, considered a VA doctor now. So whatever she says that vet needs to go to is okay by the VA because the VA has authorized her, and the VA will pay for that.
They would if they were in one of their hospitals.
Yeah, and that opens up too, like if a veteran goes to the ER, has an issue and goes to the ER, there's a 72-hour hotline that the veteran has to call too, and that's something I see a lot in the office too. They bring bills up, I got this bill, and then come to find out they never called that hotline. Well, the VA is pretty strict on that. If you don't call in 72 hours, then they don't have the authorization there, and that's the period to call in. So that's another, hot topic too, to make sure you call that 72-hour phone. And that also opens up like the specialty care here at Perry County Hospital. They go to Dr. Anna or one of those primary care doctors and they need to do an ortho or heart specialist or something. They can go here in Perry County. They can have that doctor send them here to Perry County, go see them. So it really opens up because, like I said, it's when you live so far away from VA clinics, you're tending to just put it off. I don't want to go. And now it's opening up where they're staying here and actually taking care of themselves better. And it's been a very good thing, what I've seen and what I've heard. But and then
They still have choices, but.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the choices now is local.
Local, yeah, they can still go to the VA and take care of the care of the VA and continue that. Or if they don't want to travel, they can stay here local.
Well, in the past, they couldn't do that. That wasn't an option. If you changed their care and had to be hospitalized, they would have to go to like Missouri or some place crazy.
Yeah, way back in the past, it was really bad. Like, I've had a few surgeries, and I used to have to go to Marion, Illinois for all my MRIs. And now, in 2014, I went to Deaconess for my MRIs. And now this year, I'm having surgery at Perry County Hospital. I don't even have to leave town this time. So it's gotten better over the years.
And all that takes work.
Go ahead, Don.
I said all that takes work. I mean, and I'm glad that our local hospital is working with you. And I'll say this from my other experience, that these larger facilities are filling up. It's taking people days and weeks to get into a larger facility with the current things that are going on. So it's good that we have more options.
Can they go back and forth, say for minor stuff, if they want to go to the doctor here,
Mhm.
if they feel like more comfortable going to Louisville or Evansville, where they can,
Yeah.
they're not committed once they go. Okay.
They can go to primary care here and say they got a heart specialist in Louisville VA. They can continue doing that. Or if they want to transfer, the rules is if it takes you longer than 30 minutes to drive to primary care, you can go to community. If it takes you a longer hour to drive to specialty care, you can go to community. Well, everybody here, it's over an hour to go anywhere. Closest clinic's Owensboro, and that's primary care, but it's farther than 30 minutes away. So it opens up for everybody in Perry County as veterans to go local.
If they choose.
If they choose.
Hey, Herbie, you have a question?
I don't know if he gets the credit or who, but whatever, they are making a great difference. My brother-in-law was a disabled vet. on his second round of cancer. And when you start driving to Louisville twice a month for his doctors, then he was driving, I think, to Hardinsburg for his therapy, and then driving to Owensboro for his chemo, and the other cancer took radiation. So he's finishing some of his stuff out because he was with them doctors, but they made it aware to him that he can now have therapy and quite a few other stuff right here at Berrycan. So if you're a disabled veteran on a fixed income, having to just travel back and forth, the time, the wear and tear, and the fuel and everything else, it's good for the county to have it, but it's really a great thing for the people. And soon enough, he does on top of stuff pretty good. The cat hoarding case that Jimmy Carter spoke of, that is also a disabled vet, and he had PST, whatever you said.
PTSD.
And part of his issue with having all the cats was a stable relationship. So that group you're referring to, I think would be something good for people like him also.
And I actually took him to Louisville and took him to what he had dogs at the time, and I actually took him to Doc Kennedy many times because, like he said, he has issues, and you just don't walk in to talk to him. He's very, very reclusive, and that was one of the problems. He doesn't trust people, and I'm glad that Herbie made a relationship with him because he just don't talk to him because he's got PTSD.
Well, and I'll make a comment too. It's hard to understand the issues with veterans unless you are a veteran. I mean, I'll just put it, say, I don't understand personally the struggles that they go through, but you do. So, I mean, that's where we have to leave our trust.
And one more thing too, this year I also got a credit with the American Legion as a service officer. I got a credit with the IDVA, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, as a service officer, and the VSO here in Perry County, and with the VFW. And what that did, that opened up the access for me to go to a VBMS system here in Perry County, which I have access to access veterans, medical files, anything they have that they did in the military, from the time they went in the military to the time they got out. And that takes going through an application process for the federal government and a background check, which I think you probably received something to sign off on that. And I was going back and forth to Indianapolis to do things, get fingerprints and all that, and I ended up getting my government CAT card, which is it's a government card with a chip in it where you can plug it into the computer to access that system. And now we have access to that, which is very beneficial because if a vet comes in with a claim for disability and say it's for like a shoulder injury or ankle, and I can go back to his military days and go look through his medical files and see, yeah, he went to the doctor for this, this, and that. This opens up the door that we can show the connection from the military, to now, where it started and where it's ended.
Which would take the veteran a lot of time, maybe not have the resources to get it, where you can access it.
Yeah, there's only 2 VSOs and my district officer in Southwest Indiana that has access to that.
Sounds good. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to nominate Kevin for another year.
And I'll second that. So motion made and second, carried 2-0 to appoint Kevin as a Veterans Service Officer. Okay, next thing on the agenda is setting our reorganization meeting. And typically we've done this at the first meeting at the beginning of the year, correct?
Yes, you normally would do this at your first meeting of the year to go through the president, vice president positions. And in the past, you've always done your board appointments during that meeting as well. Being that the first Monday of the month is on January 3rd, which is going to be the recognized holiday for New Year's, you'll need to set something else other than that evening. I know the county council is meeting on Wednesday, January 5th for their reorganizational meeting. They'll have their board appointments as well. They'll be meeting at 5 p.m. that day. It's up to you
January.
as to what you decide. I did mention something to Greg, and didn't seem to have a problem, whatever you decide, if it's an evening meeting that week.
Well, typically, if the holiday fell on the Monday, that we had our meeting on the following day, on Tuesday, would that work? January 4th? Is there any conflicts that you're aware of? Randy, you have any?
No, I don't have any. And that might work with Chris, and kind of that's our schedule, we'll have our attorney.
As
long as it's not in the day.
Yeah, the following day, yes.
And then at that meeting, you can also discuss whether you want to keep your current meeting schedule or if you want to change that.
Okay.
Those are things that'll be on that agenda.
So I'll entertain a motion to make January 4th at 6 PM.
Okay.
That's our traditional time.
You make that motion, I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made, second carried, 2-0. All right. Next thing on the agenda, Teresa?
Okay, a little while back, upcoming board appointments were announced, and they are advertised on the website. And looking through past minutes, came to my attention that you do have 2 appointments to make to this newly formed PSAP Advisory Committee. You have 2 appointments. They are 2-year terms. They are expected, according to the agreement, to meet once quarterly at a minimum. And the members shall either be active or retired public safety employees of a public safety agency located in Perry County that routinely receives calls from dispatch, cannot be an elected official, and there's some other things that were listed in that agreement as far as what the what their duties would be. So I don't know how, it's not, I don't know that it's an emergent thing that you have to wait. You want to give ample time, I would think, to have people to submit letters of interest for that. But I just wanted to run that by you, that really should be another appointment that needs to be added and on your radar. If you want to wait and decide, or if you want to wait and do the normal 6 weeks that you do for other appointments, then that kind of puts you into probably February.
1st of February, yeah.
To maybe make that appointment.
I mean, our resolution was that we gave every board appointment 6 weeks' notice, and I personally didn't see an urgency. There's not any issues with dispatch, I don't believe, to be solved, so.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't even meet till probably March anyway.
Probably March anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So it's whether you want to, the first meeting in February or the second meeting in February,
Well, whatever 6 weeks is from today.
I'd say the first meeting in February.
first meeting in February would probably be.
I think people's aware of it because what we went through with dispatch and knew that was in the thing, so.
Right.
It is out there that we will be looking for somebody, so.
And once you decide on what your meeting schedule is, then we'll know exactly that date, but
Right.
I'll make that note. And then the other thing I have is something that has already been mentioned. I know at the council meeting it was mentioned about this proposed application. It's a portal that Ann Island is proposing for the county to implement. It involves people in the community could download or access the application for free, and it would allow the county and the departments to be able to put information out there on this as a way for the public to access information. I know we have a website. It's a little more complicated to give departments, personnel, access to changing web pages, uploading documents, creating hyperlinks, knowing how the setup is for the website. it's more of a complicated process and not an easy to follow process. So I think, you know, this would be an alternative way other than social media like Facebook for county departments to get information and put it out there. It's also a way that notifications can be sent to specific populations. And I brought that up at the meeting at the council, notifications like to county employees or to, I did talk with probation and I talked with community corrections, and they have a need to be able to send out their probationers and those that they serve appointment reminders. And right now I know that probation was using cell phones and having to individually text each person about their upcoming appointment, whereas something like this could be done in an accumulative manner where they could select the population that they need to send out a reminder to, and one sent alert would go to everyone to do that. That's just an example of some things that could be done. So, you know, the idea of this was to have one platform that the community as a whole could access, and then if businesses and nonprofits or industries wanted to be able to use that as an advertisement outlet to advertise, you know, what their daily specials are or what's going on, their job openings. There's a lot of possibilities there that it create just one hub that everybody could access. It is not meant to be and I'm just sharing the information based on information I've gotten. It is not meant to be somebody that's going to get overkill of alerts. It's meant to be a way like just you use a web browser to search for something. It would be a one point to go to be able to find something you're looking for in the county. I had talked to some departments. There was a meeting back in June. There were several officials and department heads that attended that. We couldn't send out the invitation to the majority of governing bodies because it would be a quorum. But I know Tom attended that. I know we had Luke attended that, EMA. I know the health department, the judge, the sheriff was there, Pam was there. I'm sure I'm missing others that were there. That first indication that was given from Ann Island, everyone seemed to be open to the idea and seemed to have a favorable response to it. It was something new. We had a lot of questions after that, or I did personally, and there was more meetings with Anjan to talk about the capabilities of the app. You know, we didn't want people to feel like they are being, we don't want people to feel pressured. We don't want them, like I said, to have an overkill of notifications sent to them, and we were assured that that wasn't the purpose of this. And then when mentioning it to the departments again, and I know Anjan has reached out to individual departments and talked with officials separately about the concept of this. Everyone seemed to have a favorable response. Of course, the costs are an issue. You know, we don't have that kind of money to do a startup. As I had mentioned to the council, the startup fees would be $35,000, and that is for 12 months. That would be all the work that they do in the planning and getting with departments or talking with us and finding out what our needs are and doing that. Every year after that would be approximately half that cost. And again, you know, it has been expressed to them that first of all, you know, a few of us can't make that decision. It has to be the governing bodies, the council and the commissioners to approve that. And they understood that. But they have reached out and talked to businesses and said, came back to us and said that there are some businesses that have already given them a favorable reply to say that they would be willing to donate or pledge some money to help startup costs. But they didn't feel comfortable doing that without at least having some letter of interest from the county that we are interested in it, no commitment, but just have an interest in that. And then they would be able at least to say, we have a letter of interest from the county, you know, and then maybe reach out to talk to area businesses to see if they could help offset some of those costs. If businesses were to come on board and do, you know, whether they advertise or where they put some information that want to do some type of advertisement, there would also be a kickback percentage that the county would get off any advertising income that Ann Island would get. That would not be handled through the county. But what it does allow the businesses and others to do is utilize the users that have come on board to that app. If somebody wants to follow a particular business, wants to know what their sales ads are, or wants to find what job openings there are in the county, they choose to go or see that site. It's not forced upon them. It's a choice. It's probably a checkbox that I want to follow that grocery store or that particular store and see what their sales are that week or see what's going on with that. So it's more of a way just to find the information. So that's the information that's been shared with me and a few of the others about it. And I was asked to share that with the council and the commissioners and to see if you would be interested in giving a letter of interest without a commitment, just to allow them to discuss this more with the community and possibly seek some donations, pledges of support, or some type of sponsorships that could help offset those costs.
I think a letter of support would be okay, and you know, as long as we're not approving the funding right now or asking for the funding from the council, I'd just like to learn a little bit more about it. And that'd be a good way to see what the community says coming back, some reports back to.
Right. Anjan had asked me if I wanted them to attend, and I said, well, I think at this point it would just be good for me to be able to explain the app to you. We didn't want, nothing's wanting to be forced upon anyone. It was just, something to run by. Those of you that have not heard from it, about it, it does take a little time to think about it, but there are a lot of little things that come around, and I think, that might be something that app could accomplish that, we can't, that we would otherwise have to do differently. I know there are some departments that do utilize Facebook, whether it would be something that they might utilize this versus Facebook, I don't know. But I know that, there's been some issues with Facebook, and, that it could be an option. Yes?
Is there other counties that are doing this now that we can?
This is something Ann Island is proposing to Perry County to be the first county to implement it. They feel that the interest is there. They would like to start with the home county where they have their business. They feel that this could be something that could grow and could increase their employees and, bring more people to Perry County, which, if you would ever want them to come and express or explain further, they are totally willing to do that. And I would think that's going to be a step if that is something that's going to be considered in the future to do. Yes, Betty?
Teresa, I would like to say that we have used them in the past, and I pay a base fee, and then I pay per people that are attached to that announcement, are attached to that.
Yeah.
And it was very, very successful in what we did with it, as far as letting tourism dates known, or farmers market dates, and that kind of stuff. It was like a reminder that went out. You do check a box of what you want. And like there were people that kept forgetting about farmers market. Well, 1 hour or 2 hours, I could set the time, and they would get a notice, and they would say, oh wow, I'm at the store, I need to go to farmers market. So it was very, very good for us. They are very, very good to work with. And, it just really worked out for us.
Well, being local, I know they do good work, but we really don't know what kind of sponsorships may be out there. So what they're looking for is support to get that information. So I agree with Randy that I think a letter of support to gather more information wouldn't be a bad idea at this time. Now, Dave, you're here with the council. We're not committing, asking for any funding at all, at this point at all. We really don't know what to ask for. So,
With your experience with the details on this, Teresa, would the hospital use it, would you think?
Could. I mean, anybody that has information they want to put out to the public, if the public wants to receive information or have information about the hospital, or if they just want to go find information, they could.
the hospital could be a sponsor.
They could be a sponsor, but they could also be of interest to
A point of
come on board and have their own agreement.
point of
with that.
information.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just ideal.
I don't think, I think a letter of interest or support to gather more information. We definitely don't have enough information to make any request to the council for funding at this point, but we gotta start somewhere.
And I know it was brought up about being a lot of work, but I really, there's a lot of work in everything we do. The websites, I don't think is the answer. I think that, because that's more involved. It's probably gonna be as easy as putting a post and uploading documents on Facebook. And what's nice about it, to me, is that each individual department can keep up-to-date information about their department out there. They don't have to go to one person to say, can you do this or change this or put this on there?
Right, like the treasurer's office
Right.
extending hours during
Right.
payment time.
Yeah, right. And election results, that would be a
Election results,
a great
that's another
idea
thing, too.
there, to have real-time election results.
Mhm.
I will say, I went back and watched the council meeting, and I know the news kept being brought up frequently, but as being the main reporter for the news, I think it would be invaluable, because I have to do the exact same thing as everybody else in the community and search for things that are going on, which is time consuming. So if I had something that could just alert me to the things that I need to attend that are important in the community, it would be huge.
So you think it'd be an advantage for the newspaper
I
also?
think it would be.
Mhm. Okay,
And
that's good.
I know someone brought up about the news, about maybe this would hurt the newspaper. I don't know necessarily that that's the case. I think, we all know advertising expenses are expensive. I think the people that want to reach people through the newspaper will continue to do that.
True.
But I think this is another alternative, maybe for those that have a very limited advertising cost or don't advertise. I know, just like job openings, we know there's a lot of people hiring, but you don't see all those ads in the paper. I mean, I'm sure they use other avenues, Indeed and other things out there, but again, it would be nice to have something that would be brought together, and it has that potential to do that.
Yeah, I really think people use it more than they think they use it already on different other companies, different things, because, I get notices all the time that I've set up myself for, with what I do, my grain markets, fertilizer prices, stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of a real thing anymore. You get more information off your phone right now than you do anything else. And, because you got it with you all the time.
3 times a
Alan?
day.
I'm getting ready to launch an app through the Perry County Sheriff's Office very soon. I just had a meeting last week. I got the funding waived for the first year. It's going to be paid by the Sheriff's Office, and it's going to give out a lot of stuff on the app. So it'll be labeled Perry County Sheriff's Office app.
Is this something that could be in conjunction? with
I don't
some-
know, we're putting it all together now. I gotta have a meeting with them next week, and we're gonna be putting together some things about the jail, put some things together about the sheriff sales and things like that, so.
Yeah.
But it's gonna,
What company are you using?
it's called the Sheriff's app.
Mhm.
What kind of costs do you have? Do you know what your costs are?
Well, and
I don't know what, because they helped us out a lot. the
And,
company.
and I think that that this proposal you know, if we've letter support, then maybe it could be done along with this sheriff's app and be part of it.
If you just Google Sheriff's app, you'll see what it's all on there.
Mhm. But speaking of what Ann Island's wanting to do, if we give a letter of support for him to explore if this could be done.
Yeah, and if it is something that the county would be interested in, it's gonna take several months for something like that to come into play, but there could always be a link to it, or there could be, there's always ways to.
Right, I mean, it may not work in conjunction at all, but we don't know that without having them check into it, so.
Well, even if it doesn't, if Alan wants to keep his, that's fine. I mean, then we can learn from it. And that, I think it's almost the same thing. See how much information you get and get sent out and how much.
It's a good concept. I mean, you know, it's a good concept. You know, but it takes everybody to work together to make it successful.
So if we have a letter of support, it's basically saying that it's not gonna fall on deaf ears, it's not committing to anything, but just not, their work is not gonna fall on deaf ears.
Right. I have a couple paragraphs typed up, but I forgot to change the letterhead, so I would have to change the letterhead before you sign it. But I just had something to the effect that Perry County Commissioners understand the potential long-term positive impact that your Smart Community Enterprise Portal could have in our community. We also understand that area businesses, organizations, and industries in Perry County can also connect with the community and get the benefit of reaching customers directly as they come on board. We are aware that you have discussed the portal with some area businesses, organizations, and industries and have gotten a favorable response from them, and that there is the potential to get pledges of financial sponsorships or donations from them to help the county implement and sustain the portal application, which we greatly appreciate. Going forward, you may share this letter of interest with them and proceed with getting any pledges of sponsorships and donations, as this would assist the county as we continue to explore possibilities for funding this potential project.
That sounds good.
I don't want to put you on the spot, Aaron. Do you think PCDC would do use anything like this? Because you're part of the county.
Well, we have our website. We've talked with Ann Island before, several years ago, about doing something similar, but we never kind of came to an agreement on what that would look like or saw an actual example, because there isn't one that exists. So I think that was kind of our hesitation. I know that I see both sides. I definitely think that there is the value in having, especially like for the departments, in those distribution lists, or how not having to send individual text messages, having that access would be huge, and that's not something that you can do through any website or an app. So that customized, I think, would be great. I would be interested in like the overall total cost long term annually, and you know, if you get supporters to pay for it initially, like what is that cost going forward after that?
And you know, we don't want to buy something and put it on the shelf.
Right.
And you know, that's one thing we have to look at. If it's a one-time deal, it's different, but it's every year, that's really.
Right, and it would need to continually be updated in order to be a valuable tool, and I think as long as it's user-friendly on the back end, which is something that I would be really.
Right. I mean,
insistent that it is easy to use, because.
Right. The success of it is going to be, like the proof is going to be in the pudding.
Yeah.
We're going to find out whether, you know, how well it's implemented, how easy it is to use, understand, and those are all things that have to be worked through as part of the planning process, if that is something that we do.
That website is now,
You know,
it's difficult to change things, it's not user-friendly on the backside.
The website, yeah, I mean, it takes some knowledge and understanding of how the website is laid out.
How
And
user-friendly it is.
I didn't develop the website, I maintain it, but there's some things that I
And we
have a lot of
those
questions about.
Same struggles with the Big Prairie website in terms of having, it's great to have a tool, but you have to be able to update it, and if it's really difficult to update, then it quickly becomes outdated. Who built the current website?
Brandy. Brandy has. And she's been very good to work with, but, you know, pretty much, yeah, keeping it updated, putting the hyperlinks, uploading documents, and,
Time consuming,
It
and
is.
you have to
It
do
is.
it in the right order, or it's not
right,
accurate.
yeah. It's not an easy task, always.
Mhm.
And do
So-
you see like your department and the other department, would you,
I mean, it could be like for us with exemptions, as far as listing all the exemptions out there and having it all in one place, and deadlines and things like that, yeah.
I really think that, you know, what I call like a bulletin board, they call it a digital notice board or whatever, just to have information out there. I know the veteran, you know, I talked with Kevin, and he had said that, you know, he could see a lot of benefits there as well, to put information out there for people to find,
Mhm.
so.
okay. Get more information, see what's out there.
So if you're okay with something that I just read, something to that
I was gonna say,
effect,
are you
then
gonna
I'll,
approve the letter to go
Yeah.
with
I'll
it?
get Tom's
Mhm.
signature on it.
I'll make a motion to approve the letter.
No, I'll second it. Motion made, second carried. 2-0 to get more information, basically.
Do you get any ideas, David? Kick them to us, you and the council thinks.
I know it was brought up at the council meeting, and it's kind of a, well, we'll see what the commissioners think, and so we're gonna go back and forth till we figure it out, I guess.
I say work together, how's
You
that?
guys tabled it at this
I
point.
mean, again, this is no commitment, and, you know, nothing has been written in concrete as far as the costs.
I think some were under the impression that we were gonna make a commitment, but,
I thought we were getting some opposition at that meeting
Yeah.
to it for some reason.
Right.
I'm not hearing that today.
one of the big ones was the newspaper,
Yes.
and now they're,
It's totally different.
yeah, support of it, so. I think we
We
gathered.
made a motion to approve it, and then we
And then they got rescinded.
tabled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had further conversations with Tara about it.
Just like when they're, I mean, just,
Mhm.
And you're just exploring.
yeah.
Right, we don't even know what that will be. Mhm. Okay, all right, Ms. Lane, is Herb, did you have something you're,
I got it.
Ellen has
oh,
something too.
I'm sorry, Alan?
A while back, we talked about the proposal of the lighting at the Berrycan Sheriff's Office and the detention center. We got a proposal, the gentleman came in and talked about it, and we sent it over to you guys as far as what it would look like. I feel that this will be good. For one, we're gonna save money for the taxpayers, but also it's going to help with our conditions at the jail as far as the lighting, upkeep, things like that. So I was hoping you guys could start with the agreement soon, if that's what you choose to do. I really think that Ron did a good job of reaching out and going through everything, and we also met with him one day at the sheriff's office as well in here, but I just feel like something that we would like to continue to look at to see if we can go forward with this.
Actually, I talked to Ron the other day, and I think I talked to you about it too, but I asked Ron to send the information to Chris Goffin, the contract.
Wait for that response back.
Yeah, and see how it panned out. And for one that doesn't know, it's basically that this company will come in and I've been in a couple meetings with them, come in and put all new lights in. LED lights. They have figured the cost savings of the energy savings, and they will receive 75% of that cost savings. The county will still have 25% of the cost savings of the lighting, and they will maintain them 100% for 15 years, all maintenance, which that's probably one of the bigger selling points. You know, the energy saving can be one thing, but with no investment from the county.
Right, I think that's what some things that.
That's a big
That's the
thing.
big part, is there's no capital
Yeah,
monies
there's
up
no
front. They do
cost.
it all up front
Yeah.
at their cost.
There's no, absolutely zero cost to Perry County for this.
Mhm.
If we would do it on our own, we'd have to get somebody to come in, buy the lights, put them all in, and I don't see the savings there. I just feel that this was a good deal to us to look at.
Yeah. Well, and I think Ron has sent the information to our county attorney to,
I'm still trying to find it, because all I can find right now, did they actually give you guys a copy of a contract for Perry County? The only thing I can find is it's a sample copy that they did in Montgomery County. Is that?
I don't remember receiving an actual contract, so we need that from the company.
We want them to actually draw the contract up, what we would be signing to get to Chris.
Yes, and send it to Chris.
Because, yeah, he sent a thing, but when I got looking at it, it's actually what Montgomery, the contract that Montgomery County entered into them, because they did the work in Montgomery County already. They've been, for about a year, been doing it there.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming it'll be the exact same contract, instead of saying Montgomery County, it's gonna say Perry County. But I think maybe Wayne thought that would be sufficient enough, but I'll reach out to him and say, hey, get us the contract for Perry County.
Right, we can't agree to something we don't know
Right,
what it
yeah.
is.
Yeah, and
Are you comfortable with us asking for that, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead and ask for it. What I was wanting to, and see if you can get it and get it to Chris and see if he can have it looked at before our January 4th meeting.
Yeah.
And then we
I'm sure
can
Wayne
make
will
it-
get it to me within 2 days of me
Yeah.
emailing him to get me the contract.
Because if we got any legal questions, Chris will be there that night, I hope, so.
Right. And the sooner that we get a copy of it to all three of us commissioners to review before then would be great too. So we get it to all four.
It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, really, what we've seen from them, especially, it's really a cut and dry thing. They're gonna come in, they're gonna do all the work. They're gonna use a local business to do the work. They actually even asked us for some of the names of the local
Electrical
companies that can come in and do it, so we
When I
provided all
told
the
him, I
Yeah.
requested that have to be.
Yeah.
In order for you guys to say yes, I said that they had to do something local.
So they got the names of all the local businesses that provide that type of service, and they'll reach out to them and see who wants to be maybe involved in it, so everybody have a fair shot at getting a piece of the pie, so to speak.
Right, and I think the maintenance cost is gonna be the big factor.
15 years, no more light bulbs, no ballasts, no.
No labor, putting them in, they cover labor and everything, so.
I think a question was brought up at the last meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Greg mentioned something about should we bid it out? That might be a question for
You
Chris.
can't find another company that can provide those specs.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of what.
You can find all kinds of companies say, we'll come in and do it for this amount of money, right, but you gotta pay it up front.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there might not be there's probably not another company like this to even bid it.
And they're
apples to apples.
not gonna
Yeah.
guarantee the 15 years of maintenance for each.
But that was the question I think the other commissioner was concerned about, so we need to address that, so.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
that'd be a
Chris
question
can-
for Chris.
Chris can answer that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
All right, yeah, you get that to us.
Yeah, we've been kind of, sorry about that, Alan, we dropped the ball on that, we kind of dragged the feet a little bit, but we need to get this taken care of, so.
I just appreciate it.
Yeah. I know the maintenance cost of that facility can be quite high. If we could cut some of it and the utilities, I think it'd be a good deal.
The cost saving across the board is.
Because if you did nothing, you're gonna still pay, the taxpayers are gonna pay exactly what they've been paying in utilities.
Mhm.
If we do it, the money, it's not increasing the amount that we're paying right now because they're just taking 75 and we're keeping 25. So 15 years from now,
We should
paying
be
the same
reduced.
amount of money for 15 years, other than we're making 25% back on our utilities.
Right, 25% of lighting costs.
Yeah.
Then the maintenance of lighting down the road. that
And
we
whatever.
don't have to
Think
figure
about how
out.
in 15 years, how many fluorescent light bulbs we would have bought.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And valves.
And the labor putting them in, that's getting expensive too.
They even said on small stuff, if the sheriff's department, the maintenance goes in and changes the bulb or does something, that they will pay them also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So right now, with the sheriff's department, is paying the guy to go do 2 hours worth of work, he can get reimbursed by them for his same guy doing work.
Yeah, and I think we had that discussion, that even if our own maintenance person goes in and changes the light bulb, that we can be reimbursed for
We would
their
bill back
time.
the company and they would reimburse the county for the time, the labor.
Mhm. So- Okay, all right, well, Herb, do you have in a 4-minute time spot?
Yeah.
I know you are, I just want to mention that.
First thing, one of the past project was the outside equipment for the pins. All of that stuff is up there and waiting for the roof to be put on. It's inside the building, hid behind the lock that I fixed. I took a picture of it in case it's not there when we go back. So all the equipment is there for the outside pins, whenever we're ready to start utilizing them. All we have to do is bring it out and use them. All the equipment that we were looking to purchase for the Sheriff's Department, Tell City Police, County Police, Health Department, Troy, is all in. We have a board meeting tonight, and we'll get with all of them to get that equipment to them here pretty soon. Maybe that'll be their Christmas present. And the equipment, a lot of people say, well, why do you want to provide this equipment? Just like in the last 2 or 3 months, because we go through the CADs every month, anywhere from 60 plus pages. The Sheriff's Department, I could think of at least 7 or 9 times that I've worked with the deputy, and they've been out in the county with strange dogs or here in town, and they've used those scanners that the county provided them last year. And just 2 weeks ago, Tell City had a case where a lady found a dog, put it on Facebook, she used social media to get it home, which usually is good, but 2 people claimed it. So she called Central Dispatch, said, I don't want to be stuck in the middle of this, what can we do? And at first they said, well, there's nothing we can do either because we have no knowledge. But then whenever one guy popped up and said, well, the dog is chipped, Central Dispatch actually called the woman back, said, if you will bring that dog to Tell City Police Department, we will scan it and see. The dog was registered to the guy's mother, Wendy, in Dallas, Texas. The officer contacted the owner of the dog. She said, yes, I gave that dog to my son who lives up in Perry County. The dog got back to the rightful owner. The other person that was claiming it, I don't know, they just wanted or whatever. So
They thought it was theirs.
Yeah, I guess. They couldn't remember there was white, this is black, but. But the point is, this equipment does help them at some point in time. And when they've got issues to handle, this equipment here will also help them go home without being bit by an unvaccinated dog or whatever. So those 2 projects are complete. And on the project Jimmy Carter brought up, the Animal Control Board was contacted November the 10th, worked with this gentleman on November the 10th, November the 23rd, December the 5th, and finally confiscated he surrendered the 58 cats that's at Vanderburgh County. We left the animal board, had 5 traps set up, went back and got the other 5 cats that he had. He couldn't figure out how to get the cats that were trapped in there, so he tore all the traps up trying to get them out. But the animal board does a lot of stuff like that. We had another case that was supposed to have bought 13 more cats there, which is the health department case. But then they couldn't get them transported, but we will get them cats later on also. So that's the only thing I had, and I gave you guys 2 pieces of paper, which really doesn't have much of a relevance, but back in 2018, I put together a proposal for an animal control officer. But this proposal is not just for an animal control officer. It's for the cost of a vehicle, maintenance, equipment for the first year, transportation, fuel, supplies. That was put together for the initial cost to set a person up and start utilizing them. And that was around $110,000, with the animal control officer being around $55,800, which is pretty close to the $51,161 that's being suggested right now. But if you want to reduce this down, and I just took about 5 minutes to change this 2021, because the car would drop down based on the price of the car, the mileage, and how long you wanted to run it, 3 years, 5 years, 2 years. And even with these costs here, but these costs are going to be associated with whoever you have. But instead of buying the vehicle, you can either take it off for 3 years, then add it back on in a lump sum. Or you can average it out that a car or a vehicle is going to cost you somewhere around $7,500 a year, because even if you just wait and buy a new one every 3rd or 4th year, you're going to have to divide that back in to 3 or 4 years, however long you run it. So that's just some information there for y'all to look at on an animal control officer with a vehicle, office, equipment.
Okay. Thank you, Herb.
Y'all have a good day.
Right. All right. No other public comments? Well, next meeting?
To be on December 29th at 8 a.m. here at the courthouse.
Okay. All right, thanks, everyone.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Hey, Herb.
I got to look at that contract when you said Senate, that's all I can, so when you said.